All right, so Poly Technologies sometimes was abbreviated as PolyTech, which was a subsidiary of a company called the China Poly Group Corporation, which is basically a trade company with headquarters in Beijing, China. The company deals with all sorts of military arms and equipment and products, and was basically founded by the Chinese People's Liberation Army to provide, quote-unquote, some competition to China North Industries Corp., which many people here in the U.S. know as Norinco. The company is one of China's largest arms exporters, or was at the time. Was eventually sanctioned by the United States. The rifles, at least PolyTech Legends, as far as I was able to find out, were only imported into the U.S. from 1988 until March of 1989. These rifles were among the first wave of AKs ever imported into the U.S. So what was interesting is that today you walk into any gun store, AKs are pretty prevalent. They're like everywhere. But in the 80s, you couldn't just walk into any place and find an AK. It wasn't really until, I think, the mid-80s, until some of the imports from Egypt, or the Egyptian Mahdi AK, and the Finnish, I forget what the name of that particular rifle was, the Valmet maybe. But basically the AK variant in Finland and the Egyptian Mahdi were really the two most prevalent AKs, but they were fairly expensive in the US market. And, there was certainly a large demand in place if you could get a reasonably competitive AK into the market. And of course, business people here started to turn to China to find that opportunity. So hence, there was a wave or a surge of Chinese imports from both Norinco and PolyTech. These were really riding upon the shoulders of the Valmet and the Mahdi AKs that came before it. Again, most people in the market here were not that satisfied with the Valmet AK because it didn't really fit the classic look, and the Egyptian AK was super expensive. I think someone had mentioned it was, as expensive as a car back in the early 80s. So, the search for these AKs that could fit the bill with decent build quality and good price, China sort of hit the mark. So, that being said, the Chinese imports sort of hit the stores, market boomed, and this particular AK here is a rare variant that was only imported into the U.S. for 2 years. It was imported in the late 80s, I'm going to say 87 to 89, roughly. And then that's when the U.S. government banned Chinese imports of AKs. I think there was a shooting at that time that caused the ban. It was under the Bush administration. There was some additional imports going through into the 90s, but again, my history is probably a little murky as to when things were officially shut off with China in terms of the import of sporter rifles and particular AK-47s. I think the issue with these AK-47s is they were really, these were made in the military factory. These are pretty much a Type 56 AK. They were built off of the same line as the Type 56 AK, and the quality is actually quite good. It's basically also considered a good knockoff of the Russian Type 3, and many also say that it's a good copy of the AKs that were used in Vietnam by the Viet Cong. There were only a few thousand of these rifles ever imported into the U.S., and what you'll see on the rifle is sort of a stamping of 386, and that basically is a serial number that means that this AK was made in Factory 386, which was in the Fujian province of China. So, while many do consider it a perfect, knockoff of the Russian AK Type 3, if you're familiar in YouTube on the world of AK-47s. There's a couple of really very knowledgeable people. One of them is known as Michiko. And he said, at 100,000 foot level, that's true. But when you really get right down to it, there are a lot of differences, a lot of very nuanced differences from the sights and the gas tubes and things like that. And I would recommend, if you really want to learn more about that, that you seek out some Chinese Norinco and PolyTech videos over on his channel. It'll be much more informative and much more accurate than what I will be able to give you. This is the PolyTech Legend. It's the latest addition to my AK-47 collection. I picked it up off an auction at the end of November, and the guy didn't sell it at the price he was wanting. He sort of had make an offer on his next listing. I decided to do it, sort of came to terms, and basically it's now mine. At first glance, it's in very good condition. From the exterior, it looks very clean. What we're going to do is sort of get it on the bench and pop the cover off and take a look inside. We'll do a clean on it, a light lube, and we'll get it out to the range and see if it works. That's sort of going to be the goal. So it's a milled receiver. You can see the lightning cuts right here. I mean, the safety, probably one of the best and smoothest safeties I've ever had off any AK. So very nice. I don't know that there's any need to really further adjust that. Overall, it's a nice blued finish on all of the metal. Again, very smooth dust cover. Just a beautiful looking rifle. The wood is very much a reddish, sort of a cherry color to me, or a deep cherry. I think the wood's actually a type of wood called CHU, or CHU or CHIU. And so again, a very classic look. I've got a slant brake on it here. I think it did also come with some type of a muzzle nut. I wasn't able to acquire that out of the original kit. I'm not sure if these are cast or if they're forged here. It does have the cleaning rod, which is super nice to have. The gas vent's got four vent holes on either side. And, the sight sort of goes 1 to 800. It's in really great shape, operational order. The wood grip has got some checkering etched into it. It's a nice thick wood grip here. I've got a little bit of chip of wood right here that's come off. They've got this reinforcement tab here. And I think I'm just I hear the trigger's really good on these things. So again, double checking it, but we'll just sort of see. Yeah, that's for in the world of AK triggers, that is a super crisp brake. It's not like a rolling brake, which you find a lot. Okay, it's a very distinct reset. There is some travel coming back to the reset, but that brake is super crisp and super clear. Yeah, okay. So in the world of AK triggers, I can see why people say that it's a really solid trigger. They really like it. Flipping the rifle around, again, it's called the model AK-47S. I think the S, if I remember correctly, maybe stood for sporter maybe. Semi-auto, chambered obviously in 7.62 by 39. It was imported back then by a company called KFS. Maybe Nice Firearms. I'm not sure on that. Probably some of you guys know out there. They're based in Atlanta, Georgia. PolyTech, Beijing, China. And then right here, we've got the serial number. And then we have 386, which is factory 386. I believe that's in the Fujian province of China. You've got sort of the front sling loop here. which is really nice. And then you got another sling attachment there. So all in all, it's super clean, and very excited to get this up on the bench and see what we can learn about it. It did come with a magazine, and you know, I don't think the original owner, I think he just had to source a mag. They said, oh yeah, it's a Chinese mag, but it really wasn't. Chinese mags are flat backed, they don't have that ridge on them. And so what I did is I went to another resource, and I was able to source a PolyTech Legend magazine. It has a chrome follower, which is what they were also known for. So I think with that, it just let's see, where are we here? Just gives it the overall really, really nice look and overall appearance. So again, these magazines are not cheap. If I come into some extra cash over the next couple of years, I may pick up a few more. But I wanted to at least try to complete the kit as much as I possibly could. Some other things that I'd like to get is when these were shipped in, they were shipped in I think a styrofoam case. And in that case, they had 3 magazines. I think they had a bayonet. So you can find some of these for sale still with the bayonet. I'll probably look to source one of those separately at some point. They obviously had a sling. You can buy these. I think they came shipped with a green sling, if I'm not mistaken, but you can source those slings. I think that was all that they came with. We're going to get this on the bench now. We're going to take off this dust cover. We're going to see what we're dealing with underneath. We're going to see if it looks as good inside as it does outside. We'll give it a clean, and then we'll take it to the range, and we'll see if it fires. So I hope it does. I hope there's nothing wrong with it, but it looks just beautiful, at least sitting here on the desk. All right, let's go ahead and get this dust cover off. Super clean inside, not a speck. All right, this bolt looks really clean. All right, this thing looks super clean to me. Put a hammer back. That hammer looks like it hasn't even been used. Okay, there's no pinning on here. That's you can tell this is before 922R compliance. I don't really see any marks on this. I don't know if this has ever been fired. This is either the most clean job I've ever seen, or I don't know that it's really ever been fired, but yeah, spring-loaded firing pin, which is indicative of these back in the day to prevent slam fires. So, okay, we'll break that apart. And this is super clean inside. It's maybe a little wear. If it has been fired, it's been fired very few times from what I can see. Wow. So this is the bolt carrier group. You can see it's super clean. I mean, I don't see a lot of wear marks on this thing, if any. And I'll just show you the inside of the dust cover. Super clean again. All right, take that bolt apart. All right, for those of you that are more in the know than I am, I'm just giving you a close-up of this bolt, but it doesn't look like it's been used. I guess maybe a little.
Wow, that's just seems super clean to me. I mean, if it has been shot, it hasn't seen a lot of heavy use. Oh, I'm going to hate shooting this thing. No, I'm not. No, sir. Okay. Try to get some light in there. Yeah, it's bone dry in here, so we'll get a little grease on that. Okay, the lighting may not be the best, but I just want to show you inside. I mean, maybe there's been a little on the hammer, but I mean, man, I don't know. If this thing has been fired, um, I mean, I'm not picking up anything. It's just like the most immaculate clean ever, like ever. Yeah, I'm not picking up anything. But it does look like there's been a little bit of wear here, but maybe that's just from sliding the action back and forth. I think that's is it the extractor or the ejector? I think that is right there. Wow. It's like some dust or something up here. Okay, here's the gas tube. Looking super clean. Clean as a whistle, man. Wow. I don't know. I think this has been fired. That's quite a surprise. Very light coating of lubricant, extremely light. All right, well, we'll run a rod through it and just make sure that the barrel is clear and clean, and then we'll put it back together.
Get a bore mop and we'll just run some of this cleaner through it. Just give it a couple of scrubs. All right, we'll just give it a couple of scrubs here. Okay, looks like a little bit of fouling, I would say, right there. So immaculately cleaned. Maybe this was just from the factory test fire. I don't know. Maybe it was just from a couple of rounds, but not too bad. Just going to take a dry patch and run it through the gas tube. And I don't know, for a gas tube, guys, I think that's pretty clean. All right, got a patch coated with some CLP, and we'll just let that in and out here a couple of times. Here. All right, so this everything is ready to go. Function check, and we are good to go. So, all right, let's do one more check. It's safe and clear, and check the safety. Yep. And we'll just go to the hammer. Okay, so here we are, remarkably clean. If it's been fired and, again, the barrel had some dirt in it, it's been fired in a very limited way. Probably had the mother of all cleans from what I could tell. Or maybe it was just done at the factory. Who knows? But it certainly doesn't look like there's a lot of wear on the parts. I tried to give you guys a close-up on some of the parts and like the bolt and, some of the areas where wear shows on an AK. I don't have a lot of experience reading wear, so if you guys have any comments on what you think, that would be great. And the question now is, should I shoot it? I like to shoot my collectibles. And it's just that this one's never, I want to say, I don't think it's been fired, but again, I might be wrong. So if you have an opinion on if I should shoot it or not, feel free to comment below on that. I'll probably lean towards putting some rounds through it, man, because I don't know, this rifle is just meant to be fired. But anyway, thanks for joining tonight, and look forward to seeing you out on the range.